Hey Faithful, it's Jason from Voice for Niner Faithful. Welcome to another episode. Today we're going to be diving into some hot topics around the 49ers free agency and their draft prospects, as well as touching on a few coaching changes, nothing major there, and a couple other minor things, you never know. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe wherever you happen to be watching this. But now that we got that part out of the way, let's get started. We'll start with a little bit of free agency buzz. I'm sure we've all heard most of this, but I'll go over some of it. Most of the 49ers' impending free agents aren't exactly the core of the team. Hufanga is pretty much set to walk. And as much as I like Hufanga, and I really wish he would stay, we just, I honestly, we can't afford him. He's going to want a nice payday and well-deserved. He played really good for us until he was injured. And I hope the best for him. Ward would be a favorite to re-sign, but I think with all the issues that happened with him last season, especially the personal issues that happened, I think he wants a fresh start, and so I don't see him staying with us. So I think he will not be here after free agency kicks in. That leaves Dre Greenlaw as the one player the 49ers might really go all in, even though he only played half of a few snap, half. It sounds kind of funny. I think he played, maybe got the whole half in. It's possible. Either way, he got that, and then a few snaps after that, and then, of course, all of that stemming from back in the last Super Bowl when he tore his Achilles. And then he comes back, and then he doesn't make, he plays that one half of a game, and yeah, it wasn't, injure something else, and yeah. So, but when he was on the field during that half, you could see the change. You could see how much he needed to be on that field to help our defense. So I personally think, and I'm just a fan, remember that, I think he needs to stay on the field. He needs to stay on the team. And I think we need to keep him in any way we can. The locker room's all for his return. Nick Bosa, Fred Warner backing him up. Even Robert Saleh, he really wants to keep him. It's the whole open market thing that he might get better deals on, and if you could get paid better, wouldn't you go? But there is still one thing we could pull off if the Niners chose to do it, and they could franchise tag him. So theirs is that. We'll see. I hope we keep Greenlaw. I would love to keep all three of them, Hufanga, Ward, and Greenlaw, but I think Greenlaw is the one that we should concentrate on the most. Shifting gears a bit, like I mentioned, a little bit about the coaching thing. Brandon Staley, who is still technically part of the team, might be heading to the Saints for a defensive coordinator job. And Boston College's Ray Brown is reportedly coming to the Niners as our new cornerbacks coach. All I've read about Ray Brown is he's done an excellent job, and hopefully he will continue to do that with the 49ers. And then, of course, we have Deebo and his trade request stirring the pot a bit, too. Whether we trade or release him, he more than likely will not be on the team next year. At 29 and with concerns over his conditioning, he might not be an ideal long-term piece for any team, much less ours. I kind of hope that he turns everything around and he gets back on his feet and in playing shape, and he does for whatever team he is there for. He's good. Unfortunately, I just don't think it's going to be with us. Now, with free agency heating up, and let's talk a little bit about the draft. As I've been saying, the draft is, and we all know, the draft is here where I live in Wisconsin. It's about, excuse me, 2 hours north of where I am. So not too terribly far. So I am going to be going, whether I'm there actually in, where you see all the fans at in the shots on TV, or if I'm just in the background somewhere, I'm going to be there. But with that said, 2024 NFL season is officially in the books, and the Eagles were crowned the champs. All eyes are on the offseason and the draft. And experts are already weighing in on how the 49ers are going to reload with that first pick number 11. So, Kelvin Banks Jr. from the NFL, Chad Roeder from the NFL, picks Kelvin Banks Jr., offensive tackle from Texas, as our first pick. And he says, quote, Banks could wait his turn and be the third tackle on the Niners depth chart or begin his career inside at left guard. I think that might be the better bet. We'll see. Cynthia Freeland, we all know who she is, has said she thinks our first pick is going to be Mason Graham, defensive tackle out of Michigan. And she says, and I quote, if I had a big board, I'd give Graham third overall in the class right now. His fit within the defensive coordinator Robert Saleh's scheme could be just what the former Wolverine needs to reach his very high upside. Plus, Graham's presence could supercharge the other pieces along the Niners' front. Now, she isn't the only one to pick Graham, but I'll get to hit that person in a minute here. From Bleacher Report, Matt Holder, he says we're picking Walter Nolan, defensive line from Ole Miss. He says, quote, Ole Miss Walter Nolan can provide the exact type of skill set that the Shanahan and company prefer along the defensive interior, as a penetrating defensive defender capable of playing up and down the line of scrimmage. San Francisco likes athletic defensive tackles who can put pressure on the quarterback, and Nolan fits that description well. He could be a suitable replacement for Hargrave, and paired with Nick Bosa, they could wreak havoc in the backfield. That would be an awesome pick. I don't mind that pick at all. The few clips that I've seen of Walter Nolan would support that, but again, they're little clips here and there. I'll have to look into them a little more. From The Athletic, Nick Baumgardner says we should pick Josh Simmons, offensive tackle, Ohio State. Before suffering a knee injury in October, Simmons was right there with Campbell as one of the smoothest and most agile offensive tackles in college football. His pre-injury performance was stellar, though his medicals will be key for his training camp. Now, I don't mind this pick as long as he's healthy, but I don't want it. I'm going to be honest. I don't want. If this guy's had an injury, I don't want to pick him in the first round. I know that sounds bad. I mean, the poor guy probably deserves to be in the first round, and he's probably going to come back fine. But the injury, it's just too risky. So I think, if anything, if this guy is still available in the second round, maybe in the second round or third round, but I wouldn't pick him in the first round. From CBS Sports, Mike Renner is saying Michael Williams, edge from Georgia, and he quotes, I quote him, quote, John Lynch's first four first-round picks as GM all came from the trenches, with Lynch set to reinforce the defensive line after last fall's struggles. Michael Williams could be just the athletic marvel that the defensive line coach Chris Kusarik needs. I haven't seen much of him. I haven't done a lot of looking yet, so I will look into him. It definitely can't hurt to have another edge rusher, though I think if we're going to do anything with edge, we might pick from free agency. or a trade. You never know. Pro Football Focus, Trevor Sikkema. And here's where I mentioned Mason Graham again. He thinks Mason Graham as well. He says, quote, they could do a pick swap with Jacksonville to jump up and secure one of the top defensive lines in the draft. I don't know if they're going to need to. Maybe. But if Graham falls to 11... excuse me again. Wow. I don't know why I'm so tired. I haven't been up that long, Anyway, Mason Graham, 2 people have picked him already, saying that's who we should pick. If he's there at 11, yes, go ahead, and we definitely could use a defensive tackle. And Pro Football Network, Ian Cummings, has said that we should pick Armand Membo. I'm probably killing his last name. So, offensive tackle out of Missouri. And I quote him as saying, quote, a drastic riser in the 2024 college football season, Armand Membo shows massive potential at both tackle and guard. He's low to the ground, incredibly long, and his physicality is elite, defining. Wow, I just can't talk today. And his physicality is elite, definitely trending up. So if this is accurate, I think this is good. This would be a good pick for the 49ers, just because the Niners like their offensive line to be able to swap between tackle, guard, center, flip-flop around. I think this would be a really good fit. So, with all that said, I think it's clear that the draft is already sparking up a lot of debate, and I'll be looking into some of these players a little bit more close so I can make my own pick and go from there. And whoever they pick, whoever the 49ers land, it's going to be a game changer in the future. I think this is going to be a better pick than obviously the Trey Lance thing happened. But I think this is going to be an awesome pick, something like a Nick Bosa kind of pick. So let's hope it's like that, and we can go from there. So with that said, another episode down and done. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe wherever you're watching this, and we'll catch you next time. Go Niners!